deal with HMOs. Now, here's the stories of Kathy and Susie. They have been victimized by health care systems. Susie's story involves her husband, Dwight. Kathy's here because of her son, Stephen. What happened to your son, Stephen?
Stephen had a fall. He hurt himself, was taken through our HMO.
I mean, it was graphic.
Procedure.
I mean, basically, he fell while he was walking, and a stick goes into his face.
Well, it goes out of his face, out of his sinus area. It took, by the time we got it surgically repaired, we went through our urgent care, went to a hospital, had to be transferred to Children's Hospital Surgical Unit. It took 9.5 hours to get this repaired. We took oral antibiotics. A week later, he started feeling ill. Went to the doctor twice on the weekend, kept saying it had nothing to do with his stick injury. Finally got admitted on a Monday. They told us he had meningitis. Actually, they only told us half of the things. We got half the treatment. We were let out in half the time.
Why do you think that?
In my personal belief is money has everything to do with it. They've already...
Now explain that to us. Why did money play a role in the care of your son when he's suffering like this?
When we went into the hospital, they do a report that tells you what things are, could be happening to him. They only gave us 2 of the 4 things that could be. And part of that is it almost seems immoral, but it's not illegal for doctors not to tell you the whole story. They told us we would be in there till Friday so they could give him a whole battery of antibiotics and steroids. Turned out that we didn't even get the full 48 hours. We were let go on a Wednesday night. He came back. The next morning he was paramedicked in. He had a fever of 106. He was in a coma, and it was a brain abscess that herniated. It shifted his brain.
And subsequently, he lost his eyesight.
Yes. He left the hospital. He was 2 years old. He left the hospital after 5 months. We asked for a scan. I think that was the hardest thing. I asked 2 doctors and a nurse practitioner who were treating him. And it would have been an $800 scan. And instead of giving him the scan, one of them insisted to me that meningitis hurts. He'll get over it.
So you believe because you didn't get this one procedure, all this suffering happened to your child?
Well, in court, the defense and our plaintiff attorneys actually told us he wouldn't have had any residual had he gotten this test in one of those first 3 days.
And in fact, this case was settled?
Yes, it was.
No doubt. The lack of a $800 CAT scan would have disclosed the problem early, and they would have treated it. He'd have been okay, but the doctors are put under pressure by the bosses of the giant conglomerates
to hold down their costs?
Hold down the costs, and they give them, in some instances, bonuses for withholding payment for withholding diagnosis or service.
Doctors get bonuses in health in managed care?
Yeah, in some of these HMOs, and that's why it's a big counterattack among the public on this, that doctors are basically told, if you don't refer to a specialist, if you save the company money, we will give you at the end of the year a bonus. And the lack of an $800 CAT scan has consigned this little boy, who I've met earlier, to a lifetime of pain and suffering. He not only is blind, he has other serious disabilities, and that is happening around the country.
Now, Susie, at least Kathy has her son. You don't have your husband, do you?
No, I don't.